The sand was hot, so hot it should have burned her skin. But she couldn't feel it anymore because pain stops when a person breaks. Her eyes half open beneath the merciless white sky, the sun pressing down on her face. Lips cracked, breath shallow, blood slowly soaking into the desert as if the land itself had decided to bury her early. And then she heard it, hoofbeats. Faint at first, then close enough to sound like the difference between dying and not dying. She tried to move, but her body refused. The horse stopped beside her. Boots touched the ground. Spurs chimed softly. Metal tapped leather. A revolver resting at a man's hip. He stood over her a moment before kneeling and saying in a rough, but strangely gentle voice, "You're not dead yet," she tried to speak, but only air came out. He lifted her carefully like broken glass and promised, "No one's hurting you anymore." And in the West, promises sometimes mattered more than law. The town was called Red Creek. The kind of place where justice arrived late and mercy never stayed. People froze behind doors and windows. When the stranger rode in carrying, the blood-covered girl, poker games stopped. A piano note hung in the air, because everyone knew her, and everyone knew what it meant. He kicked open the doctor's shack and laid her on the table while the old doctor muttered in shock. "Who did this?" And the stranger answered calmly, "Wrong question." The doctor studied him, long dust coat, tired eyes, revolver worn smooth by use, and asked if he planned to start trouble. The stranger said, "Trouble already started. I'm here to finish it." She woke to darkness and drifting voices. Pain stitched back into her side. Time lost meaning until she heard a chair creak beside her bed and opened. Her eyes to see him sitting there, watching the window. "You survived," he said. She whispered one word, "Why?" He answered after a pause. "Because I found you breathing." She said that wasn't a reason. And he replied quietly, "Maybe I was late once before." He asked her name. She said Lena. He said she could call him Cole. She studied him and realized he wasn't from here. He said he knew exactly who did it. 3 men, one with a silver tooth, one limping, one laughing before he hit. Terror filled her eyes because he was right. He had followed their tracks, leaving her for dead, and said tracks only go one direction. Word spread fast. The Grady brothers ran the town and didn't like interference. Cole stepped onto the street at noon, while a silver-toothed man mocked him from the saloon porch, saying he picked up property that didn't belong to him. Cole replied people weren't property. The limping brother moved forward, and the sound of a revolver being cocked echoed louder than thunder, though it wasn't drawn yet. The street emptied, because everyone knew violence when they heard it. The man asked if he'd die over a girl he didn't know. Cole answered simply, "No, you are." That night, Lena woke and found him. Still there, she said he would kill them. He said he would stop them. She warned they'd kill him. He accepted the possibility. She demanded why it mattered. And for the first time, he looked tired and admitted once someone begged him for help and he chose. Another fight, and when he came back, there was nothing left to save. She told him he could leave. He said he'd been walking this road a long time and stepped out into the night. Midnight wind pushed dust through the empty street where 3 figures waited outside the saloon. Cole walked alone toward them. They warned the town wasn't big enough. He answered it wasn't big enough for them. The laughing one told him to draw. Time held its breath, hands blurred. Guns cleared leather, shots cracked the silence. 2 bodies hit the dirt. The third staggered, clutching his shoulder, whispering Cole wasn't human. Cole walked forward and said softly, he was just a man who kept his promises. The last shot ended it. Morning came gentle, and for the first time, Red Creek woke without fear. Cole saddled his horse while Lena stepped onto the porch, still weak but standing. She said he was leaving. He said yes. She said he could stay. He paused but refused because towns like this needed peace, not men like him. She asked why he helped her. He looked at her and said, sometimes saving one person saves what's left of yourself. He tipped his hat, repeated no one would hurt her anymore, and rode toward the horizon, and this time he wasn't too late. Morning light spread slowly across Red Creek, but the sun felt different that day. Doors opened without hands hovering near holsters. Shop shutters lifted to normal voices instead of whispers. For the first time in years, the town breathed. But one man wasn't staying to be part of that peace. Cole tightened the saddle on his horse. Lena stepped onto the porch steps. Her legs were still weak, yet she didn't fall. She watched him the way someone watches a storm, fade into the distance, something that brought both destruction and salvation. "You're really leaving," she said softly. Cole pulled the strap firm and answered without looking at her. "This place is all right now." "You made it all right." He gave a faint smile that never reached his eyes. "I just remove what's wrong. Good people fix the rest themselves." Silence hung between them. Even the dust seemed calmer. Lena gathered courage. "If you hadn't come that day, I would have died." Cole finally looked at her. "If I hadn't stopped that day, I already was." She didn't fully understand, but she felt the truth in it. "Where will you go now?" He mounted the horse and stared toward the horizon, wherever the next promise is waiting.
"And if you ever want to come back?"
He thought for a moment. "Then I hope I'm not needed." Her eyes filled with tears. "I won't forget you." Cole tipped his hat slightly. "Forgetting is kinder. Gunfire makes bad memories." He turned and the horse began to walk away, but after a few steps he pulled the reins and spoke without looking back. "Lena, no one's going to hurt you anymore. Not even this town." This time it wasn't just a promise. It was an ending. The hoofbeats faded, softer, then gone. And for the first time, silence wasn't frightening. Lena took a deep breath, looked toward the rising sun, and walked inside, to live, not to hide. And with that the story reached its end. Some men stay in towns. Others only come to save them. And when they leave, it means the darkness left with them. The end.